Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear students, today we are going to learn new lesson. We are going to start a new lesson which is chapter 12, sources of energy. So all of us eat food for living and for the growth of our body. So vehicles like motorcycles, tractors, trucks, buses, ships and airplanes, all these vehicles, they need some fuel for their running. So even if you want to cook some food, we need some fuel to burn the food. So energy. So where do we? Why do we use the fuel? And what do we get from the fuel? We get energy from the fuel. We get energy from the fuel. So uh, energy plays an important role in our life, in the human's life. So the basic question we can ask is, where do we get all this energy from? So that is what we are going to learn in this lesson. We are going to learn about the sources of energy, from where we get the energy, from where we can produce the energy so that we can use it for various purposes in our lives. So what is energy? So energy is defined as the ability to do work. So when there is an ability to do work or some action, that is what is called as energy. We require energy for all types of activities, including activities within our body and with our body, whatever we action do, and with other bodies or objects. So is that also requires energy. So if you let's take an engine in a car or in a vehicle, that needs energy. Okay, so energy plays a very important role in our lives. It provides comfort to increase the productivity, that is by increasing the speed of the manufacturing, production on and all these things. So um, since mankind use uh, uh, the energy, uh, since for making food, okay, and for all types of activity, we rely on energies, okay, and we have been using wood, water, and fossil fuels as a means of heating and making machines work. And nowadays, we are using electrical energy, and it has become very important in our lives. So now we are going to see various forms of energy. So in our life, we have different forms of energy. We have heat energy, we have light energy, we have mechanical energy, electrical energy, chemical energy, and sound energy. The most common forms of energy are heat, light, and electricity. Okay, these are the common forms of energy. So, as per requirement, we can convert one form of energy into another form of energy. For example, light energy can be converted into electrical energy, and electrical energy can be converted into heat energy, and heat energy can be converted into electrical energy. So, based on the requirement, one form of energy can be converted into another form of energy. Then we are going to see different sources of energy. So there are different sources of energy. There is no one source of energy, but there are different sources of energy. So the usable energy can be extracted. Okay. So from anything out of which usable energy can be extracted is what is called as the source of energy. It may be coal, petrol, diesel, kerosene, natural gas. All these things, they are different sources of energy. So if there is some energy which can be exhausted or which can finish out within a period of time, then that is called as renewable energy. Maybe after some decades, if it will get over, it will be finished, then that is called as renew sorry, that is non-renewable energy. Okay, that is the energy sources that are we are using up and cannot be generated in short period of time, like petrol. It will get over. Okay, after some years, not some years, after some decades, it will get over. So they are non-renewable energy, but it it cannot be exhausted easily, like sunlight or the wind or the seawater. So these are all the renewable energy sources. These are renewable energy sources. They can renew it. We can renew those, like wind and water. So here, whatever I explained, non-renewable energy sources like petrol, diesel, all these things, they are extracted from the crude oil, and uh, from crude oil we can extract petrol, diesel, and kerosene, and these can be used as a fuel for different machines and vehicles. So they are limited in amount and exhaustible quantities. They can get over. So they cannot be regenerated in shorter period of time, and you cannot use it again and again. Once you use the petrol, you cannot use it again. Okay, so hence they are called as non-renewable source of energy, and it is expected that our oil and natural gas reserves in the world may last for 30 to 35 years. Assumption 30 to 35 years, provided that there is no major fields are discovered in the future. If there are no crude oil fields are discovered in the future, so it is possible that our, whatever we have these reserves, they may get over within 30 to 35 years. And the coal reserves may last maybe another 100 years. And even the radioactive elements like natural uranium, and also they are also non-renewable. So uranium, uh, uranium atom is there. They will be split into half, and if they split, so a very large amount of energy is released, which can be then used to electrical energy. Now the next is fossil fuels. It is a conventional source of energy. Fossil fuels comes under non-renewable energy sources. So fossil fuels are coal, oil, and natural gases. So they are important non-renewable energy sources. In the world, over 85% of our energy demand are met by the combustion of fossil fuels. So 85% of the energy um, demands are met by this combustion of fossil fuels. So every year, approximately 1.9 billion tons, 1.9 billion tons, 1 ton is 1000 kilograms, of coal is burned every year to generate electricity in the world. So how the fossil fuels are formed? So millions of years ago, the remains of dead plants and dead animals were buried under the ground. So over the years, by the action of heat from the earth's core and pressure from the rock on the soil, these buried and decomposed organic materials, these are dead plants and animals are organic materials, they get decomposed, and they are due to the pressure and the heat, they are converted into fossil fuels. It takes like thousands of years. So next is coal. Coal is formed in a way similar to the other fossil fuels. So it goes through a different process called as coalification. Different process called as coalification. So coal is made up of decomposed plant matter in conditions of same high temperature and pressure. So there are different types of coal such as peat, lignite, subbituminous, and bituminous. So peat is nothing but a mass of dead and decomposing plant matter, not decomposed but decomposing plant matter. So in the past it was used as a fuel alternative to wood, and the next what happens is that this peat, it becomes lignite. It is a brownish rock that contains recognizable plant matter and has a relatively low calorific value. What is calorific value? Calorific value is nothing but the amount of heat can be produced from uh, an amount of uh, the fuel. Let's say that this is peat. You take 1 kg of peat, okay, this peat, and you take 1 kg of lignite. So when you burn this two, you will get more heat from this lignite. Okay. So now when you compare this lignite and peat, this peat has lower calorific value compared to this. So, but when you compare with bituminous and lignite, lignite has low calorific value. Okay. And the next is subbituminous, which is a shade of dull black with very little visible plant matter. And the final one is bituminous coal, which is jet black, very dense and brittle like stone. And it is the best quality of coal and it has high calorific value. That is, if you take an amount of coal or bituminous coal, then it can produce large amount of heat if burnt. So how the electrical energy is generated from the coal? So in the coal power plant, what do they do is that they burn this coal and they will uh, there will be water boilers. Water boilers will be there. This heat produced from the coal burning, it will heat this, and they will take this water will be converted into steam, and this high pressure steam will be sent to the turbines. Turbines will be there, and the steam will rotate this turbine, and this turbine converts magnetic energy into electrical energy because magnets will be there inside the turbines. So due to the rotation, so this mechanical energy will be converted into electrical energy with the use of spinning magnet. And the next one is natural gas. Natural gas is another major source of energy in our country, like methane and all these things. So natural gas is also a fossil fuel. It is a cleaner burning than gasoline. So from natural gases, electricity produced in the same way from the using the turbine. So they have given some advantages and disadvantages of energy from fossil fuels. You can read about it here. Okay, it is very easy to understand. And then next one is energy from the atom nuclear energy. As I told earlier, if you take the uranium, there is something called nuclear fission. If the nuclei of the uranium is split into half, what will happen is that it will emit an enormous amount of heat energy. This heat energy will be used to heat the water boilers, and from that steam is taken to rotate the turbine and produce the electricity. So the splitting of the nucleus of an atom into fragments, so this releases energy, which is this process is called nuclear fusion. But if two nuclei, light nuclei like deuterium, which is heavy hydrogen, they are combined together to form a heavy nucleus, this as well releases an energy. So this process is called nuclear fusion. So in the nuclear fission, if neutrons are released, few neutrons are released during this nuclear fission, these neutrons split other nuclei of the uranium. Okay, they will split the nuclei of the other uranium. So this process continuously happens. So this is called as chain reaction. So as I told, the energy is used for boiling water till it becomes steam. Then the steam is used to drive a turbine which produces electricity. So in our country there are nucleus reactors in Tarapur, Kalpakam and all these places. And there are some uses of nuclear energy. You can read about it here. And there are some harms in the nuclear energy, like it has some nuclear radiations. That's why they have it will be away from people, and also the harmful waste that come from the this process, they contain radiation, so it is harmful for people, humans. People can develop cancer from it, and there are some advantages. You can read about it here, inshallah. And next one is renewable energy sources. Renewable energy sources are inexhaustible, that you cannot complete it because it is found in huge amount, and it gets renewed. For example, wind, seawater, and sunlight. So these are all renewable energy sources. So sunlight is ultimate source of energy. So what happens is that with using sunlight, energy can be produced. There is something called as solar cells. So these will contain solar cells, and this is solar cookers. So energy can be produced from the sun. So and solar energy is commonly used for heating, cooking, production of electricity, and even in the desalination of seawater. When the seawater is converted into drinking water, that is what is called as desalination. So with the help of solar cells, there are something called as solar cells. When the sunlight is passed into it, this creates electricity. So solar energy is converted into electricity using the solar cells. So there are some advantages of using solar energy. That is, it is renewable energy, and it lasts long, everything. And there are some limitations that are like only during the summer, or during only when there is sunlight you can produce electricity from solar energy. What if there is winter and during night time you cannot do it? And the next one is wind energy. So this is the windmill. So the wind, what happens, it does is that it pushes this and it rotates the turbine, and then electricity is produced. So this is Turkey. So it is also called a wind vane. So it is similar to this windmill with the same principle, that it rotates the turbine and electricity is uh, formed from the turbine. So there are some advantages of wind energy. Please read it. Okay, and there are some limitations. Only when there is wind, the wind turbine will rotate. Otherwise, you cannot rotate it. Like that, there are some limitations. Read about this here, inshallah. And working of windmill, as I told, the wind pushes the windmill blades, and inside that turbine will be there, and it starts rotating. All these things have been explained here, and I am explaining in a simple term that wind pushes the windmill blades, and the magnetic electrical generator will be there inside, which converts the mechanical energy into electrical energy. That is the principle of turbine. Okay, in most of the process, turbine is used. If you search on YouTube how turbine converts mechanical energy into electrical energy, you can see some good videos with animation explaining all these things. But if it's only necessary, you can watch it. And the next one is hydroelectric energy. Hydroelectric energy, what happens is that hydro means water. So from water, electricity is produced. How? By the natural flow or fall of water. So in the dams, what will happen? Here the water will be stored, so it will have potential energy. So now if the release is water, it will come with high pressure. So this water will be allowed to allowed to flow through a water turbine, and this rotates the turbine, and hence electricity is generated, and then it is transmission to the line. Okay, so this is how the hydroelectricity is produced. Even in the waterfalls and dams, the water is allowed to fall and go through these turbines, water turbines. Okay, so there are some advantages for hydroelectric power. That is, it is a renewable energy. The water does not exhaust it out. Okay, you can just take it out, and you can use the water for further reproduction of the further uh, production of the electricity. And there are other advantages as well. You can read about this. And there are some limitations. That is, hydroelectric power you cannot set up anywhere. It has to be set up at specific places where water is available. And dams, building dams, very expensive. Like that, there are some limitations. You can read about this here. And the next one is geothermal energy. Geothermal energy, inshallah, we will see in the next class. Okay, dear students, next class we will complete this lesson, inshallah. Maximum it will take 2 to 3 classes to complete a lesson. And also, whatever I say, read about it, advantages, hydroelectric power, disadvantage, limitations. These are all easy points that you can read and understand. So make sure you read it, don't skip it. And inshallah, uh, before the end of the February, we will complete all the lessons, and then we might have revisions. So be ready, study well, take your time. Exams are approaching just 4 months. Put your hard work. Just 4 months. Don't be distracted with entertainment and all these things. So concentrate and study well. And see you in the next class. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.